Now, when, like in my case, when we joined the church, 1952, I went to school. I was the first one in my whole family, my whole clan, actually. Then I got to know both. I knew the traditional, because I was qualified in the traditional. Everything, fighting, cows, crops, the traditional way. Then I got to know this new system, the educational, the new one. So when you hear that the NRM, the resistance movement, it's actually a mixture of that. The new supported by the old. So like in 1966, when Obote abrogated the constitution, we were at Ntare in the dormitory. And we almost had a fight with the boys there, the UPC boys. And we said, how can Obote abolish our constitution? How can Obote, the son of Opeto, abolish our constitution? Then the UPC boys said, what will you do? What shall we do? They thought it was a joke. The following day, I went with two other boys to Kahigiriza, who was our Nganzi that time. So we want to fight Obote. It is Kahigiriza actually who persuaded us to go back to school and study the situation more. And eventually, when we went to Dar es Salaam, we were not going to Dar es Salaam to just study, because there was a university here. Why go to Dar es Salaam? There was a university here at Makerere. It is because we wanted because we had read in the papers that Africans were fighting the Europeans in Southern Africa, in Mozambique, in Angola, in South Africa. So we said, if Africans can fight the Europeans, who is this Obote? Let's go and study how to fight. That's why we went to Dar es Salaam, all of us, Kategaya, myself. We were not going to study, because there was a university here. Why go to Dar es Salaam? Because we wanted to study how to fight. So therefore, I think it is God who arranged this, that some of the people went to that, because the traditional system was actually very strong. The only thing they lacked was some additional information about science and technology and literacy. So therefore, I really praise God for the people like Mungonya, who pioneered that education, because I think if they had not gone ahead, because of the arrogance of the Banyankore, you know, they are very arrogant people. We may have ended up like the Karamojong, because the Karamojong up to today, they've been out. But when the Mungonyas joined, although many of us many actually stayed out, eventually they pulled us. They pulled us by example to join. And when we joined the new system, we had the advantage of both the toughness of traditional and now the new knowledge of the new knowledge. So I really praise God for these people who joined early, who joined the new system early. It helped us to, because we eventually linked up the two groups, the resistors and the transformers. We were able to link up, and that's why Ankole is a little bit, is moving forward. Now, regarding Mzee Mungonya himself, brilliance, the brilliance they are talking about, the common talk was, no shomere varhom bahasan ka Mungonya. No shomere varhom bahasa ka Mungonya. That Mungonya could read a letter even when it was still in the envelope. He could know what was in the letter even before opening the envelope. This is how the peasants exaggerate when they are supporting something. They lionize somebody they appreciate. You must have heard them saying that Museveni would turn into a cat, would turn into a dog. This is their psychological support to exaggerate a bit, but something they like, something they approve of. So that brilliance was very much talked about. We would pick it up. That Mungonya read a letter before it was opened, knew what was in the letter. But in terms of contribution, apart from the example of modern education, the other big issue was on the land policy. That one is no doubt. It was very controversial. One of the parties, of the political parties, DP, was the campaigning land titles, Ebiapa. 1955, 56, you would hear scary stories in the villages. Mungonya has a quittency. Mungonya has a quittency. Mungonya is about to bring catastrophe in the world, in Uganda. Ngu korokuza kushenya omwitaka ly'omuntu nibakukwata. You know, those simple and cheap campaigning, that if you, because you know the Banyankwela had a communal system, you could go and graze everywhere except very near the home. You wouldn't go in a shambu or a chanya chenyena where the cows graze. Otherwise, the land was communal. So this idea that you would have a land title for your piece of land was very much resisted, especially by the DP party, which was campaigning the land title. So I remember 1957 or 1958, when Mungonya, it must have been Mungonya, I read it. We had a newspaper called Wamanya. Wamanya, have you known? That was where we used to get information. Wamanya printed a picture of, it must have been Mungonya and maybe Nganwa coming to Kagango. Kagango is a sub-county of, one of the sub-counties of Shema, where they gave out 50 land titles. I even remember the number. Big controversy among those who are against. But by the time I was at, we had finished in Tare, 1966, I was the one leading the fight for the land titles in the Nyabushozi area, because we could see that those who got land titles managed the land better than the ones who did not get the land titles. So there's no doubt that here Mungonya was more or less a heroic pioneer of this policy. Because it was controversial among the cheap populists, those who wanted to, who were also uninformed, I think. Because even now, in some of the areas of Uganda, you still get the same problem. Like in the north.